Hi everyone, this is Frank with Teaching University. In this lecture today, we're going to be discussing how we can enter flow states. And I've actually created several lectures and videos on this topic because I believe getting into flow is such an important skill that if we learn how to master, it can not only help us get more results and improve our productivity, but it could also improve our overall well-being and make us feel more satisfied and fulfilled and happier individuals. So, what is flow? So flow is basically a mindset where you're totally immersed in what it is that you're doing, where you lose sense of time, you lose sense of self, and we're going to talk about self-image in a moment when it relates to like Dr. Maxwell Maltz and psychocybernetics and his work and really the importance of the self-image. But also we're so immersed in what it is that we're doing, we're focused on the task at hand and we are in the present moment. We're not reliving the disappointments of the past. We're not worrying about some event in the future. We're totally immersed in the present moment right now. And when we're in the present moment, when we're focused, when we're firing all cylinders and we're using all of our physical and mental faculties in the pursuit of something worthwhile, that's when we get into flow and that's when we achieve and become our highest and best version of ourselves. And Abraham Maslow, who I've referenced in many of my videos, you look at the hierarchy of needs, the pinnacle of human experience is creative expression. So when we enter these states of flow, that's when we're at our highest and best self, and that's when we can authentically express ourselves, and also when we're the most creative, because we're not multitasking and trying to do multiple things at the same time. We're focused on one task at a time, and that's when we enter these states of flow. And Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, who is a famous researcher, who is really the pioneer behind his flow research, who passed away as of late, he actually stated in one of his books, in one of his first books on flow, where he talks about how the best moments in our lives are not when we're resting or we're laying on the beach somewhere, even though that sounds pretty nice right now, right? Like laying on the beach somewhere. But it's not when we're resting, but when we're actually working towards something worthwhile. And that's when really our best moments are, not when we're resting, but when we're working towards something. And that's when we enter these states of flow, where there's also a biological process to this. When we enter these states of flow, there these feel-good chemicals like dopamine, serotonin, epinephrine, and all these other feel-good chemicals are rushing to the body where we almost feel superhuman. And Stephen Kotler, who is a famous journalist and researcher who's researched on flow and actually has a website called the Flow Research Project, which I recommend you visit, and I'll add the link below, where he talks about really in interviewing many high-level athletes who perform dangerous stunts like skateboarders and skydivers, etc., and surfers, where in interviewing them, they describe how when they do these really dangerous stunts where really they could be risking their lives here, or they could lose their life, they're so immersed in what it is they're doing that they feel godlike or superhuman, where nothing can harm them, where they feel like they're totally impervious to pain, to fear. They're just in the zone, as many athletes describe when they're performing at our best. And we perform at our best when we're in these states of flow, where we're not worried about the past or the future. We're in the present moment and we're focused on a specific task at hand. And what's so important about flow also is that besides losing our sense of time, we also stop worrying about the self-image, or more specifically, we're not analytical as much anymore. And part of why flow is so effective and so powerful is that we shut off that analytical part of the brain where we're not overly critical and second-guessing our ideas. We simply take action on our ideas and we use our higher mental faculties found in the subconscious. And it was Michael Crichton who, for those of you who don't know him, he wrote this little book called Jurassic Park, which obviously all of us are familiar with. Okay, became a huge franchise. The film was one of the highest grossing movies of all time. But he's also one of the greatest science fiction writers of the 20th century. And in an interview he made, or in a speech he made at the Academy Achievement back in the late 80s, an audience member asked him how it was that he was able to write all these amazing books. So he described, the way to answer that question, he described the conscious mind, or the analytical mind, as a mouse, and the subconscious mind as the elephant. And what he said was that in order for us to achieve anything worthwhile, it's important we use that elephant, we use the subconscious mind. And to use the subconscious mind then, it requires that we become less analytical and start acting on our ideas and start trusting our gut instinct. And that's part of the whole process of flow, is that we're not analytical, we just go, we take action on an idea and we move forward, and we're not so much worried about the end result, we're focused on the process itself. So then how is it that we can get into flow more often? Well, it starts with really removing any sort of distraction that we have in our environment, more specifically cell phones. I know all of us, we use them. I'm addicted to them as well. All of us use cell phones. We want to put our cell phones away or any sort of distraction from a workspace or the environment that we're in when we're trying to work on a particular project or task. We want to remove those sort of distractions. Also, what's important is that you want to think about working on activities that aren't so easy but aren't so difficult. It's trying to strike that balance. You don't want to work on a project that doesn't challenge you, but at the same time, you don't want to work on a project that's so difficult because you don't have the skill set necessary to accomplish that task. So it's trying to find that balance of working on something that isn't so easy but isn't so difficult, that's difficult just enough where it challenges you and helps you grow. And when we enter these flow states, it's when we're in states where we're also growing because we're challenging ourselves. We're overcoming self-limiting beliefs and internal resistance that we face around that analytical mind, where we begin to shut off that analytical mind for a period of time and we use these higher mental faculties, especially our imagination, that in order for us to accomplish a specific goal. But also more importantly then is that we don't want to be afraid of failure. We want to be willing to take action on our ideas and not second guess ourselves. So to enter these states of flow then is that we don't want to focus so much on a specific outcome, but we want to focus on the process and not be so analytical, especially overly concerned about our self-image. All of us can be overly analytical because we have these self-limiting beliefs. We have this negative self-image about ourselves where we think we're not good enough, that we're not more intelligent enough, that we're not strong enough, we're not attractive enough, whatever sort of self-limiting beliefs we may have that prevent us from taking action on our ideas and getting into these states. So what the important thing is that we start taking action on our ideas so that we're less critical about ourselves. And when we enter these flow states, that's when we're less critical, and that's when we can actually overcome some of these self-limiting beliefs because we're motivated to keep going and to keep taking action on whatever task we're trying to accomplish. And that's, again, thanks to these feel-good chemicals that are released when we enter these flow states. But more importantly, I think when it comes to entering flow is that we want to be able to embrace this whole process while also accepting the fact that there is the unknown. We don't know when a specific result is going to happen. We don't necessarily whether we're going to see the fruits of our labor on whatever it is that we're working on. We want to get into flow because ultimately, whatever it is that we're doing, we want to thoroughly enjoy it. We want to enjoy what it is that we're doing. And when we enjoy whatever it is that we're doing, whether it's working on an Excel spreadsheet or exercising in the gym, when we enjoy what it is that we're doing, when we enter that mindset where there's bliss in whatever it is that we're doing, even as mundane as it may be, that's when we can enter these flow states. And that's when really we can start to see, when we get into this mindset, that things start to happen because we're at our best. We're not overly critical. We're not indulging in self-limiting beliefs. But more importantly, we're focused on what it is that we want. And it was Earl Nightingale in The Strangest Secret who said, you become what you think about. So when you focus on what you want, you focus on a specific task, one thing at a time, when you're in the present moment, when all these feel-good chemicals are being released because your mindset, your mind and body are one, you're no longer analytical about your ideas, that's when things begin to happen. And that's when you become much more productive, happier, and that's when I think you become your higher and best and most creative self. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can watch all my lectures on wealth building, personal growth, creativity, and entrepreneurship. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace. See you guys.